Hi folks, it's Coach Kelvin here from the We Run Virtual Run Club and We Run Coach for Leeds and surrounding areas, as well as online coaching. In this little video, I'd like to share some thoughts on a question that I get asked on a fairly regular basis. And that question is, it's kind of what is the minimum amount of training that I can do for a 50k, so for people venturing into ultras. And it does depend on quite a few things, but there are some sort of guidelines that I use when I'm helping people choose events to say, you know, is this something that we think would fit into that runner's life in terms of time? And is it something that the runner can handle physically, stress-wise, to complete a 50k race? So a rough guide, I've put this guide down in the comments, well, not the comments below, in the notes for the actual video, so that you can kind of see it. But roughing it out, what we want to be able to do to complete a successful 50k is, so 4 runs a week for me would be a minimum. It's very difficult to drive fitness off 3 runs a week for an ultra. Unless that runner has got the ability to do 3 sort of mid-length runs. So in other words, got the ability to run quite a bit in the week. So from a practical standpoint, 4 runs a week. And there's a couple of ways that we can do this. And it depends whether the runner's got time to train both days at the weekend or whether they need a day free at the weekend. So for the one run at the weekend, we're probably looking at a couple of midweek runs around 10k, and then a midweek run around 14k, so a slightly longer midweek run, and then looking at a weekend longer run progressing from 16 to 30k. And this is for the 12 weeks that precede the taper. So these are the numbers that we want to be getting sort of somewhere near. And that's kind of 50 to 64k overall. The other way to do this, if the runner's got more time on a weekend than they have midweek, we could do 2 midweek runs of around 10k. And then we could progress a longer run on the weekend from sort of 14 up to about 26k. And then the following day, do another slightly longer run, so a sort of 12 to 14k. So that would give us 46 to 60k throughout the 3 training blocks, so the 3 4-week blocks. So another few things that is quite important to bear in mind when you're planning longer distance events and looking at how much time you've got to train. Most people respond to a long run every other week rather than a long run every week. So within that, we're probably looking at doing the longer runs on the build week 1 and the build week 3 in a sort of 4-week block. So we're looking at 3 4-week blocks. And the longest workout in that block is likely to be on the build week 1 of the second block. So the last block of training, so the last 4 weeks before the taper, we're not in a position there to really start driving more fitness. That's about putting the finishing touches, dialing in kind of hydration, nutrition, kit, and all of those things. So that's kind of quite important to remember, is that long run is unlikely to be every week. It's more likely to be every other week. So on the build week 1 and the build week 3. And when we get to 12 weeks out from the taper, the longer run, we want to do it when our legs are the freshest. So we don't want to be building fatigue throughout the training block. And we want to hit the toughest workout on the build week 1, then a sort of mid-length run on the build week 2, and then a sort of longer run on the build week 3, but not something that's as stressful as the one on the build week 1. So I hope that makes some sort of sense. If you've got any questions, please just pop them in the comments below. And for now, happy running!